This first problem, what we could do is we can get rid of the parentheses because this is just multiplying by each other. So what we're going to get is 4 times x cubed times y to the 5th times 3 times x squared times y to the 4th. Now that I got rid of the parentheses, I could rearrange every value in here so that each variable is next to essentially the same thing. So, for example, the numbers. The first thing I'm going to write is the numbers. 4 times 3. Now I'm going to write the x's. X cubed times x squared. Now I'm going to write the y's. Y to the 5th times y to the 4th. Now, 4 times 3 is simple. It's 12. That's multiplied by x to the 3rd times x squared. Because this is a variable multiplied by a variable, and the variable is the same thing, all we do is we add the exponents together. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So that would become x to the 5th. Same thing with the y's. Since the variable is the same, all we do is we add the exponents. So 5 plus 4 is 9. So our final answer is 12, x to the 5th, y to the 9. This next problem, we could distribute the 1/2 to each value in here. So 4 to the 1/2. Now when you have a variable with an exponent and then an exponent outside of the parentheses, you're going to multiply your two exponents together. Instead of adding them, we're going to multiply them here. So 2 times 1/2 is 2/2. So B, 3 times 1/2 is 3/2. And C, 1 times 1/2 is just 1/2. Now remember that 4 to the half is the same thing as the square root of 4. So this becomes 2. 2 over 2 is just 1. So A, B to the 3/2, and C to the half. For this next one, what I want to do is distribute these exponents into the top and the bottom so I could separate them essentially. So what I'm going to do, I write a little parentheses, 2r squared to the 3rd over 5 to the 3rd times 5 to the 3rd over r to the 3rd, small parentheses, 3. So here remember that when we have an exponent raised to the exponent, you're going to multiply the exponents instead of adding them. So for this first one, it's going to become 2 to the 3rd. R 2 times 3 is 6, so it's going to be r to the 6th over 5 to the 3rd times 5 to the 3rd over r3 to the r to the 3rd power raised to the 3rd power. So r3 times 3, that's 9. So 3 times 3 is going to be 9. The 5/3 are going to divide out, and we're left with 2/3. 2 to the 3rd multiplied by r to the 6th over r to the 9th. Now we could actually divide out some of these r's because the bottom r to the 9th is larger than r to the 6th. What we do is we take the 9 minus the 6 is equal to 3. And the r stays on the bottom. So this just becomes 2 to the 3rd over r to the 3rd. And then 2 to the 3rd is obviously 8 over r to the 3rd. And that's our final answer. This next problem, we have a negative outside. So what I want to do is essentially the same thing where I'm going to distribute the -3 to each value in here. So u to the -3rd raised to the -3rd times v to the squared raised to the -3rd. So again, remember, we're going to multiply the exponents on each value. So u to the -3 times -3 just becomes a 9. So this just becomes u to the 9 multiplied by v, and then 2 times the negative 3 is going to be negative 6. Negative 6. We can take one more step here because we don't want a negative on the exponent. What we're going to do is we're going to move this to the bottom and get rid of the negative exponent. So then this becomes u to the 9th, and in the denominator we're going to have v to the 6th. That's our final answer. So right here, the first thing I want to do to simplify this is I want to remove the negative exponent values, or to rearrange them so they could be in their own separate fraction. So how you do this would be 9 times x squared over 3 times y squared. So all I did was I took this 9 and this x squared and this 3 and this y squared, and I left them alone in the first fraction. We're going to multiply that by y to the negative 4 over x to the negative 1. So now we isolated the two variables with negative exponents. Now I want to get rid of both of these exponents at the same time. So all we do is we're going to flip our values in here, and we're going to get rid of the negative exponents. So then let's leave the first fraction the same. So the first fraction is exactly the same. Now for the second one, we're going to put the x on top, and we're going to put the y to the 4th power on the bottom. And that gets rid of our negative exponents. Because remember, a negative exponent just means you flip it from the numerator to the denominator and vice versa. Now, the next step that I want to do is I'm going to add the same variables with each other. So then 9x squared x over 3y squared y to the 4th. So these are the same, so I could add them together, or multiply them together, I guess. So it would be 9x squared times x is just x to the 3rd. And then 3y squared times y to the 4th. So y squared times y to the 4th, you add the exponents. 2 plus 4 is 6, so it would be y to the 6th. And we have one more step because 9, we have a 9 on top and a 3 on bottom, so that means we could divide out a 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3, x to the 3rd, over 3 divided by 3 is 1, so it's just y to the 6th. And that's our final answer. This last example, what I'm going to do here is, the first thing I want to do is get rid of this negative. So remember, the way we get rid of a negative is we just flip our fraction from our numerator becomes our denominator, and our denominator becomes our numerator. So I'm going to rewrite this as 8v over u to the 3rd raised to the 1/3 power. So this is, all I did was I got rid of the negative exponent, or the negative on the exponent. The next thing I wanna note is 8 is the same as 2 raised to the 3rd. So I actually want to replace this 8 with a 2 raised to the 3rd. It's about a 3. Because remember, 2 raised to the 3rd is 8. So all I did was I replaced that. Now the next step, I'm going to distribute each value in this expression. I'm going to distribute the 1/3. So 2 raised to the 3rd, which is the same as, well, when I distribute the 1/3, it's going to be 2 raised to the 3 times 1/3. So 3 over 3 times v. It has a 1 on the exponent, so 1 times 1/3 is 1/3. Over u to the 3 times 1/3 is the same as 3 over 3. So here you can see that this just becomes a 1. This becomes a 1. And that stays a 3rd. So what we're left with is 2v to the 1/3 over u. And that's our final answer.